So, gameplay for the highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 dropped yesterday, and for the most part, reception has been nothing short of extraordinary. For fans of the cyberpunk genre like myself, I think it's safe to say that this game has all the potential to become a dream come true. Now, it is important to keep in mind that the gameplay we were shown is all work in progress, and there is a lot that can change about the game moving forward. This was something that the commentary accompanying the presentation kept emphasizing, and it was in large part why CD Projekt Red was hesitant about showing gameplay to the public. But ultimately, it would seem as though with gameplay being so constantly requested, and with initial feedback being so positive, the studio decided it was time to show the world what the buzz is all about. What you may not know is that at the end of the nearly 50 minutes long showcase, the studio left the general public a message. If you have been following Cyberpunk 2077 for a while now, then you will know that this has been sort of a tradition of CD Projekt Red's since the very first CGI teaser trailer from 5.5 years ago. The secret message from back then talked about how they're still building the team, how the release date is still ways off, and how the game will only be out when it's ready. Then in the E3 2018 trailer, another secret message was discovered, explaining why development has been taking so long, emphasizing that Cyberpunk 2077 will be a true single-player story-driven RPG, and answering some questions that talked about how the game will be out when the studio feels its quality is up to par, how the scale of the game has yet to be determined until all the pieces come together, how there will be free DLCs and paid expansions, just like Witcher 3, and how there won't be any microtransactions whatsoever in this game. Which finally brings us to the latest hidden message, which mainly explains why the studio took so long to publicly release gameplay footage. Here's what they had to say. Hey, sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. Did you like what you saw? Because for us, the fact that we're finally showing you Cyberpunk 2077 is huge. Please go to our forums, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and do tell what you think. Is the game world how you imagined? Do you see what we meant by immersion when we talked about Cyberpunk 2077 being a first-person perspective RPG? How does our vision of Cyberpunk by day make you feel? We really want to know. Aside from that, we think we owe you a few words of explanation on why we're showing you this gameplay now, sometime after industry professionals and media saw it at E3 and Gamescom. Each time we discussed the idea of showing the game to you, and we discussed this idea a lot, we were ending up with this "we're not 100% sure" limbo. Why? Because for most people, when a game dev shows gameplay footage from their game, it means that this is how the game is going to look or play like. It's not the case here. Cyberpunk 2077 is deep in development. We have a lot of design ideas, a lot of mechanics that are being playtested, but we don't know what we'll end up with at launch. This makes publishing videos like what you just saw risky. We don't want gamers saying, but in the previous video that gun was shooting differently, or why did you change the interface? Change is inherent to video game development, and there's a ton of things being modified each day. Our fear was, and kind of still is, that you'll think what you just saw is how Cyberpunk 2077 will look like one-to-one. What gave us the extra confidence to show you a work-in-progress game? Good initial feedback from people who are accustomed to see games at various stages of development. What they told us, and they told us they really liked what they saw, gave us the boost we needed to show the current version of Cyberpunk 2077 to the most passionate and insightful audience, you. So, here's what Cyberpunk 2077 looks like today, or rather it looked like when we recorded the video. We sincerely hope you liked it. Again, thank you for your patience and all the thoughts you shared with us. Yours, CD Projekt Red. So first things first, I must once again commend CD Projekt Red for their honesty, transparency, and willingness to communicate. It is rare nowadays to see a studio that values their fans enough to go out of their way to explain the reasoning behind their decisions in a way that doesn't sound like PR bullshit. Seeing it from the studio's perspective after this explanation, I think the general public will be much more understanding of how they chose to deal with the gameplay reveal. But yeah, essentially they felt like in its current state, Cyberpunk 2077 was not representative enough of the final game to show everyone but industry professionals and media outlets. After all, at this stage, there's still a lot about the game that could change, from its visual aesthetics, gameplay design, to its mechanics, and the fear was that people would compare a more final build of the game to this pre-alpha version and make all kinds of assumptions. But in the end, the feedback they got from E3 was so overwhelmingly positive that they got the confidence to release what they have now while emphasizing that nothing is final. I will say that while the studio's hesitation is definitely understandable, I do think it was the right decision to show the gameplay off sooner rather than later, as it will go a long way to keep fans happy in the meanwhile and appeasing their anxieties. Something else that showing gameplay will pave the way for is for the public to provide feedback that the studio could use to improve their game. Those looking from the outside in might have ideas or see things that the developers might have missed during development, and I think this can turn out to be very beneficial for the game in the long run. CD Projekt Red actually welcomed feedback by asking everyone to tell the studio what they thought about the gameplay footage through forums and social media on matters such as the feel of the game world, the immersion aspects of the first-person perspective, and the look of daytime Cyberpunk. In return though, don't say that the studio didn't warn you when certain aspects of the game end up being very different in the final build. So yeah, there you go folks, everything you need to know about CD Projekt Red's latest direct communication with the gaming community. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!